Hey Scrappers, it's Vanessa here, and welcome to the Mixed Media Frenzy Hop. And for this hop, the whole goal of everyone's layouts is to use some sort of mixed media on their project. And so hopefully you will get lots of inspiration on different types of mixed media. I will have the links to everyone playing along in the description box below, so be sure to hop along and check out everyone's layouts, leave everyone some love, and see their take on adding some mixed media to their projects. For my layout today, we are going to start out, and the mixed media that I am going to do for this one is primarily adding this stencil with some texture paste. And this is a very old texture paste, so it was drying out, but it still works pretty well. Once I sort of mixed it around and kind of worked it a little bit, I was able to get it to go through the stencil pretty easily. It's a very textured, so it's very gritty, which works out great through the stencil. You can definitely see it on the pattern paper that I'm using here, which is a wood grain. And when it dries, it is a gold sort of glittery texture paste. So I really love how it looks on the wood grain pattern paper that I'm using. And funny enough, this pattern paper is actually one that I printed on my 12x12 format printer. So I love being able to use and print my own pattern papers. And so that is what this one is from. And so now, once my background had dried for that texture paste, I am going to come in and add some white splatters and then some gold Heidi Swap color shine as well. I love, if you've ever seen any of my past videos where I use a wood grain background, I almost always add definitely usually gold and almost always white. It'll be one of the two or it'll be both like I'm doing here. I love the look of either of these kind of splatters on a wood grain background. I can never leave a wood grain background without adding some sort of splatter to the background. So while that is sort of finishing drying off camera, I am going to build the rest of my layout here and do it on my cutting mat here so that while my background is drying, I can sort of lay out the base of this page. So I'm starting by matting my photo with a text blue and white paper and then some other different scraps here in pinks and blues, which are the two colors that I'm kind of going for the layout today. And as you saw with my mixed media, I put it sort of with a band at the top and bottom. And that's because the design that I'm going for this layout is sort of a middle design. So this band of papers that you see me playing with here is what is going to span the middle section of my layout. So I'm going for a sort of middle heavy design for the page. So now that I've gotten all of my pattern papers kind of laid out, I'm just going to trim them down and get them sort of positioned. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to glue any of this down on camera, but I'm going to go ahead and build out how the embellishment clusters and everything is going to ultimately lay down on the page while, again, like I said, my background is drying. And I do fuss back and forth here a little bit with these pattern papers just because I wanted to get them, I didn't want them to be, huge. I wanted them to go behind the photo and you'd be able to see them in the top and bottom, but I didn't want them to be huge and take up too much room and cover the mixed media for sure. So I am going to take a little time and sort of trim them down. But ultimately, how I've laid them out here is how they will look on the final layout. And because my 12x12 paper is going to be framed by a piece of cardstock, I am also trimming these down. So they're about 11.5 inches or a little bit less than, they might be 11 inches. And then my background is an 11.5, give or take in size. So now I am going to glue down my photo so that it is not moving with all those pattern papers. Like I said, I don't glue everything down, but I do want to at least glue that down so I can move it freely. I do have that 6x8 piece of grid paper as well. that is in a pink, and I'm going to use that. Part of my journaling, which I do not do on camera and it's not in the still photos, but my journaling will go on that grid paper, as well as my title will go down at the bottom of that as well. I do want to also bring in some texture, so I did bring in that pom-pom trim, which is going to go in the bottom of that sort of stack of pattern papers. And now you see I am bringing in all of the bits and pieces that I pulled to use for this page, and primarily everything that I'm using for the page today. I had been going through some of my past citrus twist kits, and I had all of these die cuts and some florals that I had cut from one of the pattern papers, and some of these might even have been from some of the printables as well, but basically all of the embellishments that I'm using were from multiple different monthly kits from Citrus Twist. So I kind of just went through them and looked for things that were in that pink and blue sort of color scheme, and I went ahead and pulled those all out, and I'm just going to do my clusters using all of these bits and pieces. So lots of florals and little woodland animals and some chipboard pieces. So all of these things sort of made me think of little girls and princesses, because of course that's what's in the photo. It is of my daughter and Cinderella at Disney, and she is talking to Cinderella, and they are signing autographs and just having a great conversation. And so all the elements that I was pulling for this, I was going for that sort of girly feel of florals and teacups and little woodland animals and things like that. So there you see, I have gone off camera, glued down that main stack of papers, and now I'm adding my trim. And the best way I've found to add that trim is to use score tape. It really helps it stick down really well, and so I am using that to go ahead and put that pom-pom trim down, and then I'm just going to trim it off here with my scissors. And basically I'm going to put my clusters back on the page just pretty much exactly how I laid them out in the video earlier. But first I am going to make sure I have the right placement for my title, and I'm going to use a few different alpha stickers and a pre-made word from Citrus Twist with the word magic, and I'm going to build out my title. And I do believe that I'm going to build my title and then I'm going to kind of move everything. It has been a little while since I created this page, but I'm pretty sure that where you see me putting this part of my title, I actually end up moving magic all the way to the edge, and then I put my title right along the bottom line of that grid paper. And so you see me here, and I think it is right around here. I think I put it all down, and then I realized I don't really like it going over the photo. And so I think that is when I decide to move it all down. I could be wrong. Like I said, it's been a little while since I have created this layout, and so I kind of forget how I went about this. Now I can tell you that it's a little bit hard to see some of that title on camera because one of the sets of letters is sort of a clear kind of sticker alpha, but in real life you can actually see it really well. Now here is where I am going to bring back all those embellishment pieces and just create those embellishment clusters again. And because I'm putting my title at the very bottom, I did move that cluster up. And so eventually in that open space is where my journaling will go. And then I do put this other second cluster right above the top left of the photo. And then the third one will go back there to the left bottom of the photo as well, just like I had originally created it. So I will glue all of this down, like I said, off camera, so I won't be making you watch me glue it all down again. I just am going to build it out. And for my clusters, I basically always start with some sort of tag or frame or some other bigger piece, and then I build on top of that. So in that case, I have some tickets, I think, and some labels in each of the clusters, and then I build up on top of those. And my clusters have everything from paper ephemera to chipboard to there's a fabric bow. I also throw in here, as you see me doing right now, some puffy stickers. I want to have lots of texture in each of my clusters, and so that is what I'm doing here. Is once I've gotten everything glued down, I am bringing in those puffy stickers, just again for that different texture and dimension to these embellishment clusters. I do pop things up with foam, and so that also helps give some lift, and so everything's not so flat with it all being mostly paper. Now, to finish out my embellishment clusters and to pretty much finish out the layout, I am adding these enamel dots in a deep pink, and there you see I added my title toward the bottom. And pretty much with that, I did add a Mickey head at the top. It's a little hard to see, but it is there. And these are the still photos. Please remember to check everyone's link who is playing along in the description box below. And guys, with that, I'll leave you for the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.